Argentinian Kevin Vallejos suffered a defeat in his first opportunity on the Contender Series back in 2023. His opponent, John Silva, has been one of the brightest UFC prospects from that season, having finished 3 straight opponents since then. Kevin, on the other hand, went back to South America to continue his dominance as a triple champion for a regional organization. He's now earned another shot at the premier organization, where he's ready to represent his country in his second chance, having aged a little bit from being the youngest fighter on his last episode. Today we'll have a look at the highlights of El Chino Kevin Vallejos. Kevin would start as an amateur in Argentina, taking on fights in Buenos Aires, Bahia Blanca, and Mar del Plata. He would dominate his amateur opponents, winning 2 amateur titles and finishing all of them. He'd make the hasty transition to pro martial arts while staying regionally in Argentina. Interestingly, he's never really left Argentina for fights. His first foreign fight off of Argentinian soil was the fight against John Silva on the Contender Series. But let's not get too far ahead. His pro debut and following fights would be a couple different organizations. Fighting on the main card, he finished 5 of his first 6 wins, and in the decision, he landed 4 knockdowns. Kevin is an absolute power puncher, but in the decision, we witnessed some of the struggles as a grappler, being put in some dangerous positions on the mat. But nonetheless, Kevin would get main event traction in Samurai Fight House. The UFC alumni Francisco Prado and Aline Perez are the pair of other talents that ascended the Argentinian organization and made it all the way to the UFC. And in 2022, he'd get a title fight, and finishing his opponent in the first round, he'd capture his first pro regional title as a bantamweight. This title fight would actually be his first contest at 135 pounds, fighting as a featherweight for his entire career prior. And with that being said, he'd go back to 145 pounds for his next fight, main eventing once again with an interim 145-pound title on the line. He'd be successful once again fighting for gold, and with the actual champion departing for FFC, Kevin would unify the interim and official featherweight titles in his next fight against Nestor Machado. With the taste of gold, Francisco Prado would depart for the UFC, leaving the lightweight championship up for grabs, and Kevin would capture his 3rd title in SFH in his 3rd different weight class. At this point, it was basically undeniable that he'd be going to the UFC, and his opportunity would come in the form of knockout artist John Silva on the Contender Series. Kevin Vallejos would be the youngest fighter on that episode against a much more experienced John Silva, and the fight would end up being razor close. The unconventional Silva attacking from different angles with a wider array of strikes versus the boxing technique of Kevin. Silva really tested the chin of the young fighter, putting together a massive 2 minutes of consistent onslaught after hurting Vallejos with a knee and a massive elbow on the fence. So with the unsuccessful opportunity at Dana White's Contender Series, he would return to familiar territory, taking on a couple more fights for Samurai Fight House, and again, he would land a rear naked choke in his fight following the Contender Series in 2023, and then in 2024, he would land another massive knockout against Gonzalo Contreras, and this would again lead him back to the Contender Series for the next season, this season 2024, against undefeated Cam Teague. Let me know what you guys think of Kevin Vallejos in the comments section below, and I will see you in the next one.